I said to Matt, put your pants back on, Matt. As flattered as I am by that offer, I just don't swing that way.
He said he's going to listen to this too, eh?
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to Day 1 Patch episode 224. Is that what we're on here?
Yeah.
224. I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Adrian Petty here.
Hi.
Matt is away. I think this is the second episode
time.
he's missed.
Yeah, because the first time he didn't show up, I didn't want to do the podcast.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep it like a
You
Matt.
wanted-
I wanted to be a thing where Matt was on every episode.
Right.
And then you're like, oh no, let's just do it anyways. And then so you, me, and Aaron came and recorded.
Oh, jeez. Well, it's amazing, though, that Matt has been here more than I have.
No, you disappeared to Montreal for a bit.
It's just funny that he's always available. All right, some of the top stories for this week include Miyamoto wants the game industry to stop overcharging its players.
Wait, what? Okay, we'll talk about that.
No new Assassin's Creed game coming in 2019. I put in, just because I'm excited, Apple's next big iPhone event has been pegged at September 12th. And then I put this one in for you because you like Onimusha, right? So we're going to talk a bit about that.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited.
And not too much else. I guess we can kind of go over the FAQ. I can bring it up at the...
Yeah, worst case, I go home and I continue to yell at Microsoft.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Yeah. And then Apple right after.
I hope you get that fixed. I'm still hoping they have a big update to iTunes. It's been a long time since they've actually refreshed the whole thing.
Yeah,
and a lot of people don't like it.
And especially since I was able to get them to recreate the problem on their end. Like
Right.
they admitted, they're like,
They
oh,
see it.
Yeah, they're like, this is a problem. I'm like, okay.
But you're probably talking to like techs. Where do you think they're located?
I asked them because we go back and forth between chat and phone. Like sometimes I talk to them and I ask them like, what are your time zones for convenience? And like some of us are in Eastern, some of us are in Central, some of us are in Mountain. So it's like they're probably, and based off the one person's accent, I'd say probably Texas somewhere.
What I'm saying is though, I don't know where they centrally develop iTunes.
Oh, you're talking about where they actually like work on it? Probably California. Probably
Right
in house.
But how do these things filter down to someone who actually codes for iTunes?
I don't know.
We're just hoping this happens.
Yeah.
I guess they don't really have a bug submitting like website, do they? Or anything?
When what they had me do was they had me run a diagnostic on iTunes. So they like instructed me to go to help run diagnostic. They had me check a few boxes, and then it spat out 2 documents. One in plain text, and then another one in some format my Windows couldn't read. And then I sent both of them to Apple through a specific email address.
I guess we never mentioned what your problem was. If you want to tell the people what's going on.
Not really, because it's really dumb.
Well, it's simply you signed out of your iTunes and you signed back in, and all of your watch history was gone.
Yes, but that also stems from a bigger. Like I have always had iCloud sync issues. Not with like contacts or mail or photos. Like everything on an iOS level has been fine. I'm talking about like from iTunes to Apple TV even. Like if I download an episode on my phone and I watch an episode, it used to mark it as watched in iTunes and on my Apple TV.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, it's marked watch here. It's not marked as watch in iTunes, and it's not marked as watch in my Apple TV unit. And it's just like it's like completely random about what's synced up and what's not. And that has always bothered me. Like, why have the system if you're not?
I almost wonder if it's not synced through iCloud, and if it's just being like the information has to be pushed from your computer to your Apple TV or something like that.
It's possible, but
I'm just
like
speculating. But
why? Even let's say it is. Let's say it isn't being pushed through iCloud.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it such an issue?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like it's a fucking check file. Like literally do update information,
Right.
timestamp it. When the other one sees it, bring it, and then just like
I have had issues.
Fuck, Dropbox has been doing this seamlessly since like 2004. Like,
Yeah.
why can't iTunes do it?
Even with Apple Music, like there's some like TV programming on there you can watch. Sometimes you'll watch the whole episode and you'll get done, and it won't say it was watched at all. Well, other ones will have your progress and say, "Oh, you watched this one," or "You watched half of this one."
Yeah.
So it's kind of random.
Yeah.
What's going on?
That stuff like that frustrates me.
And I'm not sure. I think Apple's becoming a little too big, and that they're losing focus on things that matter to people,
Yeah.
and just focusing on the iPhone because that's what makes them money. you know. Mm-hmm. And this is what happened when Steve left the first time. Apple got into too many things. They were building printers and cameras and all sorts of different stuff and PDAs. And when Steve came back, he canceled all those projects and said, we're just going to focus on the iMac, and that's it. You know, and he completely rebooted the company.
Yeah.
So what's new other than your technology woes?
My other work woes that might as well, okay. Because I also tell this story because it's just as frustrating because I'm dealing with like a customer service rep. Equipment that I have to transfer from hospital to hospital is done through a company, a company that we contract, which is going to remain nameless. Yeah. Okay. They have a system in place where it's I put something somewhere in the hospital, okay, and then I go fill out an online form. And I literally dumb down in a I say like I do a fill out form from one address to the other, and like who it's receiving on one end and who's receiving on the other. In this case, is me. Like I'm sending it from one hospital, and when it gets to the other place, I would go to the other hospital to grab it and move it over. So, but then at the bottom, it's literally just a dumbed down paragraph. Like it's like I literally just type in, it's like, hey, pick up these 2 tables from this hallway outside this room. Bring it to this place at this hospital outside this room. And it's like, somebody has to take it, read it, do it, and that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So this company, what they do is they have guys in vans, different size vans, all over Hamilton. Like if you know of them, you'll see them everywhere. Mm-hmm. If you don't know of them, you won't ever notice them. But they're just like guys in vans, and they just sit strategically in spots all day. From like 7 to 5, and their job is when they get dispatched to go move medical equipment, they'll call somebody with the appropriate size vehicle, whatever it has to be. They'll tell them like, go get this, go move it over, and go do it. Okay. They have different size vehicles because I had 2 overbed tables. You know the overbed tables that you slide on top of a patient?
Yep.
Okay. When I send something out, I have 2 options. I have something called next day and something called same day. Something which does not need to be done immediately. It's something that needs to be done, and same day, something that needs to be done immediately in case it's an emergency. All right, pretty straightforward, right? Yesterday, and generally speaking, when I put next day, it's usually done that same day because these people they don't have much to do. Next day, they usually go pick it up immediately and bring it over. All right. Yesterday, August 30th, I put 2 tables in a spot. I fill out the form. I say next day, even though I'm expecting it to be there today. Or that day, I should say. And it's like, all right, shouldn't be a problem. I'm about to leave at 4 o'clock, and I get a call from the dispatch, and he says, hey, I'm really short-handed today. I can't bring those tables today. I can pick them up today, but I can't bring them to your other location until tomorrow. I'm like, okay, like that's completely reasonable because I've slated it for next day anyways.
Yeah.
Like if you did it today, you'd be doing me a favor.
Right.
While that sucks, you are entitled to do that. I'm like, thank you for the call, as long as it gets done tomorrow. I happen to be walking by that hallway, and I wasn't near it at all today. I would be walking by today this was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, those tables were still fucking there. I'm like, it's like, and I just had like, this is a Friday of a long weekend. Like I'm done in an hour. I'm like fuck. Now I gotta like deal with this. So it's like, I go and track down the number, and I call, and I'm like, hey, like, I put these tables here fucking, 29 hours ago. They were supposed to be delivered within, at best, 17 hours, and they're still here. So he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, can I have the number? I'm like, yeah, okay, here's the number, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, he's like, that's kind of weird. Like, I don't know why. I'm like, so, like, your system says they weren't delivered, but no, there's no checks and balances. Like, like if I didn't walk by here, these tables would just live here, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, we need to get these tables to that location because you guys stopped delivering at 5. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll upgrade it to stat immediately. He's like, I'll get them there. I'm like, okay. I'm out the door at 4 o'clock. I decide to take my route past those tables. Those tables are still fucking there. And I'm just like, God damn it. I'm like, it's technically not my responsibility anymore. Like, I did my due diligence. I put them there. And, like, until they pick them up, it's technically not my problem. But I feel bad because there's somebody on the other end who's waiting for these who should have had them already.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm going to clock out. I'm going to go home. And when I have time on the way to you tonight, I was going to give them a call and I was going to ask them again. But of course, the dispatch is closed. You can't even dial, like you like the number doesn't even go through it anymore. It's like, great. They're not even going to continue until fucking Tuesday morning after the long weekend. And it's going to be 5 days when it should have been a day and a half most.
But for the most part, their track record has been...
Their track record is really good.
Yeah.
I put stuff there. I say, it's going to be ready in 15 minutes. An hour later, it's at the other location. But it's just like, okay, yeah, you gave me a call. You couldn't do it. Completely reasonable. It is a long weekend. I'm sure a lot of your staff probably fucked off early. It's just, you told me you were going to pick them up on the Thursday and hang on to them overnight, which is, again, reasonable. That didn't happen. Then you told me that they were going to be picked up and delivered for 5. That didn't happen. And now I can't contact anyone. It's like, great. And my boss kept on asking me throughout the day. He's like, "Are these tables on the way down?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I've done. Like, I'm sure the process is being executed." No, it turns out it wasn't. It turns out it wasn't. If before I go to Toronto tomorrow, if I happen to go to my work and walk in receiving, I guarantee you they're still going to be there.
They're not mandatory at the location, are they?
What do you mean mandatory?
Like, do they need them? Or?
Yes, they do need them because the other ones they're short. They're short on those tables,
and it's like they need to have those.
Yeah, they have like hallway patients which don't have proper, because Canadian hospitals are so packed that they have patients in fucking hallways covered up by dividers, and that's the situation. Yeah. And because he emailed me, he's like, "I need 6." I'm like, "All right, best I have is 2 over here." I'm like, I can scrounge up a 3rd later, but right now you can have 2. I'm like, my recommendation is you get those tables down to engineering, you fix them as soon as possible, and then you give me mine back, but I can send you those. I said, like, you can have these today. And that was on Thursday.
Right.
And it's going to be Tuesday, and he's not going to have them. It's going to make me look like the bad guy.
So on your end, though, like, what if your hospital needs those tables? Do you have a list of the stuff that's able to be lent out to other hospitals?
Yes. Here's the thing, though. When you say I need those tables, what do you mean by that?
Your hospital.
Yeah, okay. So if my hospital needs those tables, the person at the hospital would contact me and ask me, and then I would then go to the other hospitals and see who has what available, and then I would move it back.
And so you have some sort of log of who all has your stuff and where it is. And
a log is a loose term.
Okay.
because that suggests that stuff needs to be updated and kept up.
Yeah.
It is not by any means. It is if they're databasing the hospital equipment is very fast and loose.
Is that your job to organize it or no? You're just there to manage it
passively.
Okay.
My job technically is to run the film prop. Like the film.
That's an odd job.
Exactly. I tell people this.
I
tell people this, and it's like I tell them before. I'm like, you're probably not gonna believe this. It's gonna sound like I'm making this up. But I work for a hospital, but I work in film. And I run a prop film set deck division of the hospital. And they look at me, and these are hospital workers that work for that hospital. They don't know that this exists. But because I fall under that department, like there's this equipment department, I have to juggle both roles sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I believe even the military rents out their stuff to movies, don't they?
Yes.
So it's a weird thing, though. But what's really weird, a lot
of money in it.
What's really weird is that they have a job specifically for that.
Yeah.
That they're
my hospital?
Yeah. Are you receiving that many calls for equipment?
Fuck yeah.
For film shoots.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it includes everything. It's film, TV, television, commercials.
Yeah. It's just whatever. It's like I'm just kind of putting stuff out there. I'm just kind of rebranding it, because what happened is this was started just kind of on the side about 1.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the one guy, there was a department of 2 guys, and the one guy took it on. The other guy wants nothing to do with it. He's like, I don't want to take on this responsibility at all. I don't want it, blah, blah, blah. So one guy started it, and the hospital saw how much money you make off this. And then, so like one of the, not the manager, but like the senior director, and like you go up the chain pretty high up, she's like all on board. She's like, yeah, go for it. As long as you're making money, keep going. Like get equipment that we would otherwise throw out. rent it out, do whatever you want. So as long as we're in the black and we're one of the few departments that actually are in the black, we can keep going. So what happened was the guy that was running it can't juggle both roles anymore because they need 2 people on equipment and they really should have one guy doing this. So then I applied for the job after seeing the job offer. I got it, and what we're doing now is slowly transitioning the guy who started it out, and I'm slowly transitioning in.
Right.
Because this is kind of what they hired me for. It sucks a little bit because I don't have a medical background. So it's like if a client asks me, if like somebody's renting stuff, they're like, oh, we need this stuff, but we also need information. Like, we don't know how to address this stuff. Like, that is a completely fair thing to ask. Problem is, I don't even know.
Right.
So then I'm making appointments with people in the hospital to like sit down with them and like ask them basic questions. And it's like, oh, how would you do this? And how would you do that? And how is this done?
Right.
And it's interesting because I can like just go like, oh, I need to contact an IV nurse because I need to know the proper protocol, but like doing this so I can relay back to the client so they know how to do it properly on set. The problem is a lot of hospital workers don't get when I ask them stuff.
Right.
Did I tell you the story about when I was trying to get information on nutritional services?
I don't think so, no.
The department that just simply preps meals for
Okay.
the patients within the hospital. Somebody was doing a scene for like that involved that, and they're like, yeah, we need to like rent some like trays and dishes and this and that. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I will contact nutritional services. I contacted the manager, and she's like, yeah. She's like, come on down. She's like, you just shadow one of the guys for like, and like just talk to him for a bit. And I was talking to the guy, and these are union workers who are so set in their ways where they just kind of, it's borderline assembly line work where they're just kind of like do things like it's like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have a sheet that tells me to do this, I'm gonna put this here, this and that, I send it off. Okay.
Yeah.
When I see this thing go here, I know to do that. And when I see this thing here, I know to do this. And that is pretty much it. So when they have somebody come in and ask questions and kind of juggle up their day, sometimes they can't handle that.
Oh my God.
So one of the guys was just like, I'm like, hey, okay, so like when you like prep a tray for me and show me what goes on an average thing. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, pretend I'm a patient and you need to prep me a tray. Show me what goes on this. He's like, okay, where's the patient sheet? I'm like, there's no patient sheet. Just pretend like what would go on it. He's like, it depends on what the patient's getting. I'm like, okay, so. And they had like behind me is just shelves of food. They have like boxes of stuff for them to grab out of and they put on it. I'm like, okay, so like if they needed this, and this would be on a patient sheet. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, pretend this is on the patient sheet. Like, how do you prep this? He's like, okay. He's like, he puts down a plate. I'm like, is that it? Does that go to the patient like that? He's like, no, like there's a tray that goes on it. I'm like, okay, so let's follow through on this and let me see a completed tray. And it's just like, it just kind of skews with their day so much because it's like, am I interfering now with this guy's smoke break? Like if I'm pushing back his day because now, so then
I wonder if they're overthinking it.
Maybe, yeah.
No.
It's just like, yeah, and sometimes I just need to like dumb it down. I'm just like, what's step one of this process? If I came to you and I said I would need this, like, what would you do in this situation? And like, I would call this person. I'm like, okay, good. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, the one I told you at the time when the guy gave me my own extension back, did I?
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Fucking just being rerouted. It's a hospital network of like 15,000 employees across like 10 locations, depending on whether there's a hospital or clinic or whatever. But she's like, okay, I need to get this. And I'm like, this person's routing me here. This person's giving me an email. This email's giving me an automatic reply back to this. And they're just sending me around this giant circle. And I was so fucking frustrated at this point. I got this one guy and he's like, I don't understand what you're looking for. I'm like, I need these tables. I need to borrow tables so I can rent them out to a client. He's like, okay, if you need to purchase furniture for your office, you need to do it through this. I'm like, no. Like, I'm not like, my office is fine. It's not, my office isn't fine. Like, my office sucks, but like, it's adequate right now. I'm like, I need to borrow these fucking tables to to give them to a client. He's like, I don't understand. I'm like, I run a prop house, okay? People are borrowing these things for fun. I need to make sure they get them. He's like, He's like, okay. He's like, try this extension. I'm like, okay. I have my pencil and I have a pad, and he spits off an extension, and as soon as he did it, I literally just threw my pencil against my wall. And he's like, did you get it? I'm like, yeah, I got it. Thanks, bud. I'll try that. And as soon as I hung up, I literally just like I just crumpled up that piece of paper and I threw it out because he gave me my own extension.
That's amazing.
Oh, so fucking frustrating sometimes. So what's new with you?
I beat Quantum Break.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Jeez. But you're enjoying it mostly, I hope?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of downtime.
Oh,
A lot of downtime.
All right. Well, I did beat Quantum Break. It's okay. It's good.
Did you watch all the episodes?
Yeah, there's not many.
Is there like 6 or something?
It's like 5 parts the whole game, and there's an episode in between each part.
Okay. Here's a dumb question. Were the episodes lagging or skipping for you?
Not the episodes, but the cutscenes in game were.
Okay.
So go figure that one. So yes, the episodes do stream.
The episode stream
The episodes stream. You can download them, but it's like 75 gigs
per thing
for the whole for everything, because there's multiple episodes, because they have different. You can make changes, right? So there's a whole combination of different things that can happen. But yeah, I only had hiccuped once when streaming, but otherwise it was fine. But it was the in-game cutscenes that I had issues with.
So maybe they're streaming the cutscenes, or maybe they should probably be rendered. That's weird. I don't know.
One thing I saw online, I haven't verified it though, because you can set the Xbox One S, not the X, the S, to output at 4K. It can't play 4K gaming, but it can play 4K video, and the menu can be in 4K. All right. So what I think the person online was saying is that when you have that setting on, it tries to load up an in-game rendered 4K video, and it's just not capable of doing that. And I think I think that's it. But I never tried to turn it off and try.
Can't be bothered.
It wasn't bad enough to really worry about. Overall, game was okay.
I'll get to it.
I think it's free this month on if you ever get your gold going.
Quantum Break?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
this month or just September.
I really?
Yeah.
I thought For Honor is For
Honor and Quantum Break, I believe. Xbox One, obviously.
Yeah. I'm gonna fucking look that up right now. Because if that's the case, they're fucking fixing my goal tonight.
Well, that's your plan anyway, right? Hopefully.
Yeah, that's how I'm spending my Friday night.
All right, I guess we'll hop into the stories. First up, Miyamoto wants the game industry to stop overcharging its players. This comes to us from GameSpot.
Oh, when did he say it? Like, what was in an interview? Like, did he tweet like?
I think this was maybe talking to Bloomberg. He said that Nintendo is exploring alternate ways for getting players to pay for mobile games.
This fucking kills me. He says that he wants developers and publishers to stop overcharging its customers when this is a company that never fucking discounts its games ever.
But that's different, though, I think, in their mind. I think that they say our games are worth this value, okay? But they don't ever want to charge you a bunch of micro... for it. Because everyone buys within the first month or two, right? And then they need to move more units, and so they lower the price. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. I don't agree with it though. It's just like there are still fucking Wii U titles that are still regular, like full MSRP.
Yeah.
59 American or 79 Canadians, and they have the audacity to say that they're like.
But again, I think Nintendo thinks they're like Apple. Apple never lowers a price during its life cycle.
Update: Quantum Break is not free at all.
For September
on
Xbox One.
On Xbox One.
What are the free games for September?
September is, they have a bonus game, so it's Forza's ending tonight, For Honor is currently free until mid-September. Tomorrow for the entire month is Prison Architect. And then at the 16th to October 15th, for some reason, they're doing it weird now, is Livelock or Livelock?
Well, what am I talking about?
I don't know what you're talking
I could have sworn because I remember I was upset because I had just bought the game.
Are you sure it wasn't another Xbox game that...
I'm pretty sure it was Quantum Break.
I don't remember seeing Quantum Break free at all. That happened to me constantly. That's happened to me with a bunch of shit with Xbox and PlayStation.
Or you buy it and then it goes
Buy it
free.
immediately goes free, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop buying games until I play.
Oh, this might be it.
All right.
Come to Game Pass.
That's probably what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. Anyway, but Nintendo. So they have a couple mobile games, and they tried a couple different things. So the Super Mario Run had a free and then a paid once model. And then Fire Emblem Heroes had a microtransaction model. It's free to play microtransactions. They got a new game coming out, I guess. But I think their goal is they want everything to be more like Super Mario Run, but they made more money off of Fire Emblem despite it being downloaded.
And I'm sure
lot
that
more.
their shareholders probably would prefer Fire Emblem.
So what kind of strategy do you think this is, though? Are they more interested in consumers' happiness
Yeah.
than making a bunch of money?
Yeah.
Because they could literally put every Game Boy and DS game on mobile with microtransactions, and they'd make a ton of money.
They don't even have to put them on microtransactions.
They could just sell them, yeah.
They could just sell them piecemeal, and I think they could get away with that if it was an already released title on a Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy DS, Nintendo DS, whatever, and they re-released it as a just one-time purchase. Those they could probably get away with it, but in today's climate, they probably can't get away with a new release and it being a one-time pay model.
Right.
It'd probably have to go to the Fire Emblem route.
So he says about mobile games, I can't say that our fixed cost model has really been a success, but we're going to continue to put pushing it forward until it becomes entrenched. That way, everyone can develop games in a comfortable environment. By focusing on bringing games to the widest range of people possible, we can continue boosting our mobile game business. But he goes on to talk about how people don't like necessarily, well, it's not necessarily they don't like, but we've moved to that streaming idea where our movies, our TV shows, our music is all being streamed to us now. And so I'm wondering if he wants to create a subscriber Nintendo thing, much like Game Pass. Would that interest you? You like Nintendo. If you had a Switch, would you pay for a Game Pass type system?
Depends.
On
They have to outline what.
I would think it would be every first party title comes to Game Pass. Nintendo Game Pass.
See, I have a feeling they wouldn't do that.
No?
No, I feel like they would be half-assing it, picking select titles here and there. And I have a feeling that they would do like a set rotation like they're doing with their fucking online system.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think Nintendo is capable of doing a PlayStation like Xbox like subscription system. I don't think they just don't have it up here. Like they just don't know what the internet is. They would fuck it up in some way.
Well, Miyamoto says that it's necessary for developers to learn to get along with subscription-style services. When seeking a partner for this, it is important to find someone who understands the value of your software. Then customers will feel the value in your apps and software and develop a habit of paying money for them. So I'm confused. He wants you to pay money for it, but he also says you need to get along with subscription services.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where he is really envisioning gaming going in the future.
Yeah. I'm curious, though, how they divide up money to developers on a subscription service.
That's always been a question for me. Because if I pay $10 a month, and let's say I stream 1 million times a song, that's going to cost more than $10. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, unless like Apple treats it like a purchase. Unless Apple treats it like, oh, your account played fucking Taylor Swift this song once, $3 or how much is a song on iTunes? $1.99?
Yeah.
Okay. So $1 of that month's fee from you is going to go to Taylor Swift. Okay, because you only played that one song once. Next time you play a different song, even if it's a month later, then $1 from that fee, from your subscription fee for that month, then goes to Taylor. Like, what if they treat it like a purchase?
But I listened to like a couple dozen artists.
But what if you only pay? What if they only pay them that $1 that very first time you listen to it, and then every time after it, they treat it like you have a purchase, and it's you keep on listening to it.
I know this because the best-selling album was replaced. It used to be Thriller. It's now Eagles' Greatest Hits. Okay, it's the best-selling album. But what they do now, because people don't necessarily buy CDs or albums anymore, they now have to account for the streaming, and they said 1,500 streams from that album is one album sale.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they incorporate something like that.
1,500 streams?
Yeah.
That's it?
But I guess they're factoring in, if I bought that album, in my life owning that album, I might listen to those songs 1,500 times of the life of that album.
I don't. First off, I can't even, like, yeah, okay. Like, I would like to know where they're getting that number from.
But what I'm saying is, like, maybe you need to stream a song a certain amount of times, and then it registers as you essentially purchased it for $1.
But I would say the first time you do that, if I saved an entire album to my thing, and I only ever clicked on the first 3 songs, like as Spotify or Apple, whatever, I'd say, okay, this artist is going to get $3 from us because he listened to it, each one of those songs. From this point forward, if he listens to those songs 1,000,000 times, that artist is not getting another $1 because we're treating it like a purchase.
But I think we know that they break it down into fractions of pennies.
Really?
Yeah, because it's been reported that like Spotify pays you like 0.0000 like 4 cents per stream. So they break it down into how many times you stream that song.
Man, this whole streaming economy is going to come crashing down one day.
Well, I don't think Apple's making money on it.
You don't think
because
so?
Spotify's not making money, and then all they have is ads and paid services for music. They have a ton more subscribers than Apple does, and they're not making money. So I can't imagine Apple's making money. The thing is, Apple can afford to take a loss.
But then, like,
what I think is going to happen is they're trying to build up their subscriber base by having the price low, right? In a couple years from now, when Apple's at, like, let's say 70 million subscribers, they'll raise it to like $15.
Do you think they'd ever pull the actual traditional purchases?
There was a rumor of that happening right after Apple Music launched. There was rumors that Apple was talking about removing iTunes, like the iTunes Store.
That'd be fucking brutal.
Do you still buy songs from there? Well, you have Spotify now. I guess you don't really need to.
If I absolutely had to, I would, but I don't have a reason to. I have to figure out what I'm doing in my music collection because I have music in a bunch of different sources, and it's like I
just have to choose one and then pull the trigger.
Well, do you know what I actually seriously considered? Because we were on chat the other night, and I asked Matt about. Remember me asking him about Plex?
Yeah.
I might just fucking start subscribing a Plex server.
Do they do music too?
Well, they just do anything you dump on there. So I might just take all my CDs, put them onto the Plex server, and then they would just live there. I'd have to fucking re-import everything all over again. But this time around, it's on a Plex server and it's safe.
Yeah.
Instead of me, a local fucking hard drive that crashes.
But I think, well, you don't listen to music outside of your home very much, right?
No, very rarely.
Yeah. Because I think that would be the one issue you'd have. But if that's not an issue, then. Because I don't think Matt can stream to his device from his home server. he has to, I think, either set something up to do that or pay more to do that, something like that.
Oh, because I thought it was just like you pay Plex and then you just have access to it anywhere. Like you just
Potentially, but your house would need the upload speed for it too.
yeah, but like for music, it shouldn't be that bad.
Music, yeah, it's be fun.
Because then I was also thinking like, oh, if I had a Plex server, I could also fucking finally rip all my DVDs, put those onto Plex, and let them live there.
Yeah.
But then I have to like figure out the issue of subtitles, and that's a pain in the ass.
Did Matt ever figure that out, or he just abandoned that?
I don't know. I don't know. In fact, a podcast I listened to, a guy mentioned that he's like, oh, I just like rip all my DVDs and put them on the Plex. I'm like, okay. So I emailed that podcast, and I'm going to see if he actually replies. But I asked him, like, how the fuck do you deal with 4 subtitles? Like, what format do you do? Like, I don't have the patience to go through and apply each subtitle. Like, I set to auto detect, and sometimes it takes bits and pieces. Sometimes it takes a Spanish one. Sometimes it mixes stuff. It's just like, oh fuck, subtitles are such a pain in the ass.
So, are you concerned with, like, say you wanted to put up Spanish subtitles, that they're there, or are you concerned with like when someone speaks French in an English movie, you want those subtitles to show up?
What the industry calls forced subtitles.
Right.
Even if you turn off all subtitle tracks in an English speaking scene, if somebody speaks French, you need to have subtitles there. That it overrides your no subtitles because they have to have it.
Yeah.
Those are 4 subtitles. That's my main concern.
I think,
And a perfect example is, even though you just mentioned it French, is a perfect example that I see a lot of people reference when in forums when asked about subtitles is Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Right.
The only subtitle, the only foreign language line is in the first 15 minutes of that movie, or first 5 minutes of that movie, when he's on that freighter. There's a single line of French, and they have a thing, and like that's a perfect example. It's like, how do you deal with that single line of French?
Right. I think Matt ran into a funny issue with Baby Driver. You saw Baby Driver, right? So he lives with that deaf guy, and they kind of sign language, and the text pops up, and it's not just like standard subtitle text. It's actually artfully done text.
Remember that part? It's burned into the image. Like, is it edited into the feed, or is it an actual subtitle file that comes up?
I think it's a subtitle file that comes up because when he imported the movie, I don't think he had them, and he had to find a way to extract them or something. Check with Matt, but I think that's what happened.
Fuck, see shit like that. It's like how have we not solved this yet?
And why didn't they just put it on the screen?
Because the reason is because in the off chance that you have an English DVD, but you have a Spanish person who wants to watch that movie, when they go into options, they turn on Spanish subtitles for everything. It will put Spanish subtitles at the bottom of everything, and then for that specific scene, it will then replace those English ones, those floating ones, with Spanish ones.
So you think they have like artfully done Spanish ones too?
Yeah, no, okay. I guarantee you.
Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, they have
that's pretty cool.
They've crafted every scenario possible.
Yeah.
So that's why they do it. And so essentially the video feed that you have on a DVD is textless. Like there's actually not, like, short of like credits, like opening credits that would like be part of the actual, intro or outro or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's no actual text on screen when it comes to subtitles. Yeah.
Okay. Next story here. No Assassin's Creed coming in 2019. And one of the reasons why they had that double year where we had Origins and then Odyssey was because they were developed at the same time, those 2 games. And so they just had them ready to go.
The double O's, eh?
Back to back. So yeah, there's not going to be another Assassin's Creed game in 2019. And they're going to continue to support Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I guess, through 2019. And this might be more games as a service type deal.
I feel they probably should have just taken a year off and then just held on Odyssey until next year.
But they want to keep that money flowing in.
Yeah, but this is what burned out the franchise to begin with. Was taking.
It's a little funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, and then they did something smart. They took a year off, and then it's like, okay, dude, we're back with something big. We're just gonna keep going then.
And here's what's ridiculous: Assassin's Creed Origins, okay, is the origins of Assassin's Creed.
Does this one take place before it?
Odyssey takes place before.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought it would take place at least simultaneously.
So now you're not even an assassin. You're not even the Creed does not exist. You're just a dude or a girl running around killing people.
Yeah, I think I'm done with this franchise.
Although Odyssey looks really good though. And Origins was pretty good.
Yeah.
And Syndicate. Unity was the one they stumbled on.
Yeah. I got way. I think I'd rather dive into the Witcher series at this
Oh
point.
yeah.
The fucking 1070 Ti's and
Just jump into 3. Don't worry about 1 and 2. I know you can't.
I know I can't.
But 1's really old.
I have several copies of each of the Witcher titles on several different platforms.
Man, if you get the 1070,
I am gonna. It's on the way.
and you have the Witcher for PC, might look pretty good.
It will look fantastic. 1070 Ti.
Yeah. I was looking at like pre-built gaming PCs. They're expensive,
Yes.
especially for a 1070 Ti.
Yep.
Pre-built.
Yeah. The only reason why mine was cheap was it came in pieces.
Yeah.
I had to it was done, but they shipped it to me separately, and I had to reassemble it myself. That was part of it.
I feel like you can get graphics cards now. I feel like the slump is kind of gone.
Especially now that they introduced those
New
2080s.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited to. I was talking to Matt. I think I've essentially future-proofed my PC for at least 5 years.
What's your processor?
i7.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
Yeah, like the i9s are out, but no.
i9s are overkill.
Yeah, in fact, if you look at recommendations still for consoles for games, like they're like recommended at i5 at best.
Yeah.
Like recommended, it's like, oh, recommended 980 at 4. I'm like, okay, good. I got 1070 at 8, so I'll be probably coasting for a bit.
Yeah.
I am probably going to take this opportunity to buy which one? Forza Horizon? Forza Horizon 4, right? Which is one that they showcased at the E3.
I think 4, yeah.
Forza Horizon, the dynamic weather system.
I think it might be 4, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna wait till that one goes on sale. It doesn't have to be much. Like the first time they put it on sale, even if it's like 20% off, I'm gonna buy it. Oh shit, that was a burp. And I'm gonna see what that looks like.
So you bought that new power supply too.
Yeah.
Is that installed and working, or
Yep.
did you just leave it out?
No. That leaves out. So what that is out. So what I've started doing was, as I'm replacing parts in my computer, I'm making a pile on the floor of those old computer parts, and I figure eventually
You'll build a new
I will
one.
have another pile, which I can just then go buy a shitty case and put everything back together. Be like, oh, here's another PC,
Yeah.
and then I can leave it. I can probably set up as a server somewhere, leave it in the basement.
You don't know what generation your processor is, though, right? They got all sort of wacky names.
Yeah, I gotta have to check when I go home. But
All right. Up next, I put this one just for me. Apple's next iPhone event is slated for September 12th. This comes to us by GameSpot and CNET, I guess. So I guess what we're expecting at this event is new iPhones, new Apple Watch, and new iPads. Now you've been struggling with your iPhone lately.
not struggling.
You
Identity crisis.
Okay.
That's.
Are you looking for alternatives?
I am looking for a way to get rid of one of them.
But that's the only issue
That is my main issue.
Main issue, yeah.
I fucking hate having two of them,
Mm-hmm.
especially a device that fights me constantly. And I have two of the exact same thing. I have found a way to essentially get rid of one. Problem is, I haven't. I am entitled to unlimited data on my work line. I would be sacrificing that, and I would be pretty much using my personal data package as my work data package. And it sucks because I'm actually sending off really big emails with really big attachments all day long, and that would just fucking fly through my data. But I could, if I absolutely want to, I could drop one right now. It's just, but that data thing is a problem. If an iPhone came out with 2 SIM card bays that allowed me to support 2 SIM cards from 2 different networks, that would be fucking fantastic. Sign me up.
A rumor did come out that the next iPhone could have 2 SIM cards, one digital, one physical, I guess. But then another rumor came out that it's only going to be for China.
Yeah, that's probably going to be where they're testing it. Of course, Apple's going to be behind everything. That's why I'm seriously considering the Key 2. Why?
Well, no, nothing against it, personally. But Matt got his,
And
and I was taking a look at it. It's nice. Like I always liked like BlackBerry's design and stuff.
yeah, the
nice-
actual, it feels good.
It's a nice phone, but I don't think it's suited for anything but typing.
Which is fine with me.
But even like watching videos or browsing the web, it's all a little clunky. Now I didn't spend too much time with it. Matt will have a more detailed review once he gets using it. So I'll let him kind of give you an overall review
Yeah,
of it.
at this point though, I think I'm willing to do that. Like right now in my day, like yes, while I do use it for like on my lunch I will watch YouTube or I will play Hearthstone or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am not using my phone as a as a entertainment device nearly as much anymore since I started this new job.
Right.
I'm using my phones more for work. Mainly because I am technically multi-site, and when I am at other locations, I don't fucking carry my laptop with me, even though I'm supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
That's in my locked office at the one hospital, because fuck that. So then my phone becomes my mobile work device, and then when I'm not at work, I'm at home and I'm using my computer anyways.
What was your phone before iPhone?
It was another iPhone.
Like before you ever had an iPhone?
The one before that was a LG. I don't remember the model. It was a smartphone, though.
It was a smartphone.
It was a smartphone.
With a keyboard, though? Like a physical keyboard?
No, it was a touch keyboard.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. It was the last one that came out before the 3GS, because then I upgraded to the 3GS. My God, the 3GS was fucking thick. Holy shit, that thing was massive. It was heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was an LG. It was a touch screen smartphone, and like it had a media player, it had web browser. I remember I ripped CDs, and it doesn't have much space, but I ripped CDs and I like loaded them onto a micro SIM, and like I was able to use it as like a media device. It supported video playback. I ripped DVDs and watched it.
So this year is my year to upgrade because my contract's going to be done in November-ish.
Mine's gonna be done in January to March. I don't remember.
And so I'm pretty excited to get a new phone.
That's the
iPhone 7.
yeah.
Now, what do you think about the names? These are rumored names. Apparently, Apple's been struggling with naming the next phone because they're in a bit of dilemma.
They would jump from 8 to X.
They have an iPhone 8 and they have an iPhone 10.
X. I thought it was
10.
They called it 10? I thought it was the
It
X.
is called a 10. Don't ever say X. It's not an X. It's the iPhone 10.
The iPhone Cross.
10. So, what do they call the next phone? Now, the rumor is that
iPhone 9.
they're going to be 3 models. There's going to be one like the size of the original iPhone 10, a larger screen iPhone 10.
Like closer to this?
Yeah. It'll be that body size, but the entire face will be a screen.
I get that.
And then there's going to be like a lower cost model. So the two like bigger ones are going to be 10s apparently.
Wait. I'm sorry, I'm confused. Okay. 3 sizes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, how many sizes are there now?
2. Unless you count the SE.
So is there a visual on this? They're like, did somebody chart this somewhere?
No, but people do have demos. Like they have mock-up like phones in their hands.
Okay. iPhone 10s.
10s.
Would it be would it be
XS.
That's really dumb. I guess I don't know because like what else do you go? How else do you do this?
Yeah, I know.
I think what they should do is. Sorry, what are the 3 models?
Okay, so I have the actual screen sizes here. So an iPhone 10, one that's the same size as the current iPhone 10, which is 5.8 inches. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A larger iPhone 10 that'll be 6.5 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And then there will be another model that is reportedly called iPhone 10 Lite. That probably won't be the name. But anyway, 6.1 inches.
And then there's also the SE.
That will be discontinued at that point.
You think it'll be discontinued?
Pretty sure. I think the iPhone Lite is going to replace the SE.
Okay. This is probably what they should do with the naming convention. The numerical entry should always be the top end of the phone. Like that top, biggest, best model should always just be that numerical entry, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So they have an X or a 10. This one should just be iPhone 11.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they should just fucking call it. Your best one is iPhone 11. Any smaller version under that should be a variation of that. So the smallest one, that light, should be iPhone 11L.
11L?
Yeah, 11 light.
If they call it light.
If they call it light. Let's assume they do.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's one in between.
So previously to the 10,
Yeah.
you had an iPhone 7 and an iPhone 7 Plus.
Then the iPhone 7S Plus and an iPhone
That
7.
would have
That's
would
what
have been
would
historically, but they went to 8. Okay.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, they had an iPhone and an iPhone Plus.
Okay.
That is essentially the iPhone 6.5 and the iPhone 5.8. Or, I'm sorry, vice versa.
What? I'm so fucking confused. I'm legitimately confused here. Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
Let's start over.
Stop. Let's start over. Okay.
Let's forget about the iPhone 10 right now.
Let's forget about all of them right now. Okay. Hold on. Stop.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay.
All right. iPhone 2G. What was it called?
3G.
It just went from iPhone to iPhone 3G.
Mm-hmm.
3GS.
Yes.
iPhone 4.
Yes.
iPhone 4S.
Yep.
Okay. iPhone 5.
Yep.
iPhone 5 was a great phone. iPhone 5S.
Mm-hmm.
iPhone 6.
Yes.
iPhone 6. Sorry, iPhone 6. iPhone 6 Plus.
Correct.
iPhone 6S. iPhone 6S Plus.
Yeah.
All right. iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus.
Yep.
Which is the one you're currently holding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just give me yes or no. iPhone 8.
Yes.
iPhone 8 Plus.
Yes.
iPhone 10.
Yes.
That is what's currently out.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't miss one.
No.
All right. So now
Other than the SE.
the iPhone SE.
And the iPhone 5C.
What's the SC? What's the difference between 5C and the SC?
5C was the lower cost model before the SE. Both the same size phones. Both the same size phones, just lower cost models.
Okay.
They're both iPhone 5 shaped.
But there was one of those was like a plastic bag.
The iPhone 5C.
I remember my sister-in-law had one.
They were kind of cool.
Yeah, they were actually really cool. I'm like, if timing was right, I probably would have bought one of those. Okay. We're at the X. So now
10.
they're rumoring the iPhone iPhone 10L
10S.
Lite, 10 Lite,
Yes.
iPhone 10S, and then the iPhone 10 Plus.
No. Rumor is they're going to drop the Plus.
But you said there's 3 models coming out.
Correct.
Okay, so what is the first new model that's rumored to be coming out?
The
8S.
No.
The 10
Everything
is going to be 10.
is going to be 10.
Okay, the 10 Lite,
Yes.
the 10S,
Yes.
and then what was the last one?
The 10S bigger model. But we'll call it 10S Plus.
Okay. They should probably just keep that naming convention then. I don't know. I can't. It's dumb, but I can't think of an alternate.
I
naming.
think the iPhone 10 Lite should have been an iPhone 8S.
But I think is it
Or sorry, iPhone 9 because 9 has not been filled.
Yeah, I think though is that 10 Lite going to have the
Same body.
but the same curved corners? Like it's going to be full edge to edge?
I think so.
Then I think that's why they're calling it a 10. Is because if they call it an 8 or a 9, then they probably think that people are going to think it's going to be like this.
Right.
And that's probably why they're doing that. Either way,
It's getting a bit ridiculous now
It
that
is.
we're into double digits.
yeah.
It all made sense going numerically up 1 and adding an S every now and then.
Yeah.
But now we're in double digits, and I think they're freaking out.
They should just be calling it They should be tacking a year onto it. That's what they should be doing. This is the iPhone 2018. Done.
And 10 is just a marketing thing. It's the 10th anniversary of the iPhone, right? So they skipped past iPhone 7S and went to 8, and they theoretically skipped past iPhone 8S and 9 and 9S.
But also, if you really want to talk about the 10th phone, like that really came up. You have iPhone 3G, iPhone 3GS, iPhone 4, iPhone 4S, 5S.
You're already out of whack, yeah.
6S, 7. Like at the iPhone 7 was technically the 10th model.
So,
unless there was an SE in there.
well, no, the iPhone 10 should be the 10th model, shouldn't it?
No, but the iPhone 7 is the 10th model.
iPhone, 3G, 3GS, 4, 4S, 5, 5S, 6, 6S, 7.
Yeah.
So to the 11th model.
Yeah. But hold on, in this though, where was that SC, that plastic model, or the 5C, or the SE?
The 5C came out in the mid-year of the 6 and 6 Plus.
Okay, so then drop to 7. So the 6S is really the 10th model. Where did the other
S8,
5
the
model?
SE?
Yeah.
I think that came out like 2 years ago. So that'd be, I think.
Was it before or after?
I think it was either mid 7 or mid 6S.
Okay, if it was mid 6S, yeah. Either way, that makes the 6S the 10th model.
They really should have just went up 1, 2,
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Although I wonder if they'll change the iPhone name entirely.
They should probably just be calling it the Apple phone. Get rid of the I.
All their other products are losing the I.
Yeah.
There's not many left, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Do they still make iPods? Is that a thing?
Yes. Only the iPod Touch. All the other iPods are gone. And the iPod Touch hasn't been updated in years. A couple years at least.
Yeah, Apple's got to get their shit together.
Well, they could just discontinue the iPod. I don't know. They probably have it for maybe point of sale people who want to use a cheap touchscreen to check people out. You know what I mean? Maybe some kids who aren't ready to have a full cell phone, just give them an iPod Touch.
I guess.
I don't know. All right, our final story. Onimusha.
Yeah.
Warlords Remaster will release on PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. This comes to us from GameSpot. Now, this isn't just an HD remaster. They're adding a lot to this game. Have you read up on this?
No, I haven't actually read it, but I just watched the fucking trailer and that was it.
So the game is receiving a high-definition graphics overhaul of its characters, environments, and cinematics.
Yeah.
Capcom is adding widescreen support.
That support that fucking shocks me.
As well, it allows you to change between widescreen and classic display mode.
Yeah, I don't know who the fuck would.
So why does that surprise you, though?
Because the reason why Resident Evil was redone completely is the same reason why they had never done an Onimusha remaster up until this point. Is also the same reason why they did do a Devil May Cry remaster, is because the difference between Resident Evil and Onimusha in one camp as opposed to Devil May Cry in the other was RE and Onimusha had pre-rendered backgrounds. A lot of those backgrounds in those games were just fucking pictures. Like they're just JPEGs.
2D planes?
Yeah, they're literally just fucking JPEGs.
That's incredible, actually.
Yeah, and they just literally they had a forced perspective where they just had a 3D model, and if you took away that background, you literally just see that 3D model walking on nothing. Like if they literally just on a black screen, but they just had it angled and they just had it pathed to an angle where that JPEG make it look like they're in an environment.
And would the character kind of shrink as it walked?
You walked away,
yeah,
and then it would load to a new environment as you walk down that hallway.
That's really clever, actually.
Yeah, it is incredibly clever. The problem is if you could like unroll the sides of your screen, there was nothing there because those were pictures. Like there was nothing there.
Yeah.
So it's like to fucking remaster those, you would have to literally go back to those fucking JPEGs and actually add in content. And like it's like those are hundreds, if not thousands, of them in Onimusha alone. I can't imagine doing the early RE games. So that's why I'm shocked that this is happening. I figured that they would have done a Onimusha Dawn of Dreams, which is the 4th entry in the series. I figured they would have done a remaster of that because that one was actual 3D environments.
Okay.
That one they didn't do pre-rendered.
Yeah.
That Dawn of Dreams is in the same boat as Devil May Cry. Those are all just environments. Those are not pre-rendered.
So with the Resident Evil remakes, those are still 2D planes in the back?
Which Resident Evil remakes? Which one are you talking about?
The latest 1 and 2.
Okay, so Resident Evil 2 is a complete remake altogether.
That's
they literally,
brand new tech.
They literally opened up. They went file new and they started over. the same thing with the Resident Evil GameCube remake, which eventually also became the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox versions. Is they went file new and they started over. Is because those early Resident Evils are just pre-rendered backgrounds as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's also getting analog stick support to boost movement and accuracy during combat.
I won't be using that. I'll be using the old D-pad. That's what I'm used to.
An easy mode will now be available from the start.
Yeah. You had to die about 10 times in the game before they even offer it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And a new soundtrack is being added to the game. After the original game's composer was found to be using ghostwriter and possibly even faked being deaf.
Okay. That's
So they're going to recompose all the music then?
Interesting.
Yeah. So what is it about Onimusha that you love so much?
I always loved samurai, Japanese, like feudal Japan settings. And I also, while I was really into Resident Evil, Onimusha pretty much took the feudal Japan setting and a half step towards horror. It wasn't horror, but it was about demons and monsters, and they just mixed it together. And they and it was pretty much the tank control system which I fucking loved from Resident Evil. It was inventory system the exact same. It was just they're fucking fantastic games and greatly underappreciated. I don't think people appreciate Onimusha as much as it should have been. But I'm surprised though that they're not doing the. Oh, and if you want awesome, you guys should actually stream this. So throughout each of the Onimusha games, a recurring theme in each of them is puzzle boxes throughout the entire game. And each game has a different style of puzzle. The first one were scrambled numbers, and you had to have within 3 turns, you had to rotate sets of numbers to make them line up. And there's hundreds of them throughout the entire game. And they really get you thinking. In the second one, it was scrambled symbols, and you had to scramble them. And as you get throughout the game, they get more and more complex. In the third game, it was path connecting, and you had to it's they're pretty much like those iPhone games, where you have to shift blocks to get the line connected, but they got progressively more difficult. On the release of Onimusha 3, they have a mini game mode, which is just all those puzzles from all 3 games mixed together in just like a playlist. And I would boot that up and just play that for fun, just as a brain teaser.
Right.
But I'm actually surprised that they're not doing Genma Onimusha as a mix. You know what that is?
No.
So Capcom was famous for doing director's cuts, they scrambled their environments.
No.
So after Resident Evil was released and people fucking speedrun that, they memorized where everything was in the mansion. They just I have to go here in this order, do that, kill that zombie, kill him like this, and they would just they had memorized the game, and and then so when they scrapped the original version of Resident Evil 2, because they had a good chunk of that game done, and they scrapped it completely and they started over with what is now Resident Evil 2. What they did was they did something called Resident Evil Director's Cut, and essentially Resident Evil again, but they scrambled the inside of the mansion. They literally shifted all the rooms around, and the hallways had changed, and they shifted all the items around as well. So it just made people revisit the mansion and have to refigure that stuff out all over again and play the game in a different order. Genma Onimusha was a Xbox exclusive release. Well, the original one was PlayStation. Genma Onimusha was Xbox. It was the exact same game where you're going through the castle, but they did the same thing. They didn't scramble the castle, but they scrambled the items you needed to get to navigate that castle. So it's like, oh, instead of going east to the docks, you had to go west to the cave first, and then that got you into the castle, and then brought you east. Shit like that. On top of that, they introduced slightly new enemies and like new powers, but like I'm surprised that they're not updating that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a copy of that game as well. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm fucking buying it. Oh.
It's funny that they're taking all this time to do that. And what I find interesting about video games is you can essentially remake it and have it be pretty close to identical as the original, but just with updated graphics, updated like environments and controls and art and stuff like that. That doesn't really happen in movies. They never do a remake and film it exactly the way it previously was. I even have an album from Jeff Lynne of ELO. He made a new album that was all his old music, but he recorded it identically to how they did in the 70s. Now, his problem with his original music was that there was issues that he had. There was recording issues. He wanted to fix it all. And so he re-recorded it, and they sound pretty much identical.
Really?
It's amazing. I actually bought the album and didn't know that it was that album that he had remade, and I thought it was just ELO.
He's just like...
Yeah. The only thing you can notice is the backup singer. It's a different woman, and she sounds a little different. Other than that, it sounds almost identical.
That's cool that you did that.
Yeah. So there you have it. That's it for this week. Thank you, Adriano. Me and Matt stream on Wednesdays on Twitch.
You guys should stream some Onimusha.
Maybe we will. Maybe. Was that Matt who played through Resident Evil?
It was Aaron.
Aaron was behind the controls.
Yes.
Jesus, I don't remember that.
It was a long time ago now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's been gone for at least a year now.
Yeah.
So it was before that.
Would Matt like the tank controls? Do you think he could figure?
No.
Okay.
But with the new Onimusha, fuck, I'll stream Onimusha if you guys want. I'll come out on Wednesday. We'll do that. Because what happened was is after they announced it and I saw that you guys went live on Twitch. I'm like, before I tune into their channel, I'm gonna go see what Onimusha views are like on, because they had just announced it that day, and it's like there's like 3 people streaming it, and they were
the original.
Yeah, and they were like in the tens of views.
Which is more than we have.
Yeah, so I'm like, they should probably be streaming Onimusha at this point.
I know. The problem is we're trying to do stuff that everyone else has already done.
Yeah.
And so it's very hard to break in that way. You know, there's no reason to watch our channel over someone else's.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to find some sort of niche in there. But anyway, there you go. We'll be on next week. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Peace.